Good morning and welcome to another episode of Josh and Pat. I'm Joshua Klein, joined by Patrick Cassidy, and Arizona, the number 2 seed in the tournament, loses to Princeton. Not only does Princeton have the edge academically, but they also have the edge in basketball. Patrick, how did this happen, and how come the White House was so certain Arizona was going to win?
Well, that's what we have to look at. You have to look at what did Princeton know that we did not know. And that I go, well, they're an Ivy League school. They knew how to beat a Wildcat. And that's exactly what they did. Arizona did an absolute choke fest down the stretch yesterday. Okay.
Yeah.
Arizona couldn't make a shot. They had a lead. They were up and they watched Princeton come back. Princeton didn't even play all that well. They didn't shoot the ball great. Arguably, they could have played a lot better, and they still beat a 2 seed. Princeton, hey, got to give it to them. You know, shout out to the Ivy League. Shout out to all the smart people out there that are also good at basketball.
So tell me this. I had Arizona going all the way in one of my brackets. Now, some would say that bracket's busted.
Busted.
Yes, it is. But if I had Arizona going all the way, they lose to Princeton. Does that mean Princeton's going to go all the way?
I think what that means is you're rooting for Princeton to go all the way because you're saying, well, the one person that we couldn't beat was Princeton.
So if they win the national championship this year, it's like, oh, I can't feel that bad, right?
It's like, yeah, I just got the one game wrong.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that's a situation. It's interesting because March Madness, we always are trying to predict what is going to happen, what's crazy, what wild thing is going. Because the favorites aren't going to win every game. We know that.
It happens.
It's just like, but what determines where the upsets come? It feels like there's no rhyme or reason when an upset happens.
Well, my prediction, and we'll see if it comes true. I'm going on the record. Grand Canyon beats Gonzaga because they are a top 55 team in free throws made per game. That's a stat I like. And number 2, they have good guard play. 3 players in double figures. That's why I think Grand Canyon gets the upset over Gonzaga. But there really isn't a rhyme or reason. That's just what I'm telling myself.
Yeah. Well, listen, but also you say that I had Furman beating Virginia. And so,
you know, Josh.
And by the way, can I say that? That's the bracket where I looked at the stats. And I looked at it and I said,
that's your main bracket. That's your go-to bracket.
And granted, did I have Arizona on that same bracket winning?
Josh, no need to talk about that. You had Furman.
I had Furman, and not a lot of people did. And Furman, like, here's the thing. I knew they're just hot. They're a hot team. And sometimes you look at last 10 games, what's your record? That's where you go. You go, wait a second. I think this team might be hot. I think they might strike at the right time. That's how you predict an upset. And we know Virginia is amazing at choking in the first round. They are the first team to ever lose to a 16 seed, for crying out loud.
The only 1 seed to lose to a 16 seed.
First and only. I gotta take this. This hat's becoming a little bit ridiculous. It's St. Patrick's Day, guys. So if you guys don't know, happy St. Patrick's Day.
There you go, Josh. The hair looks great. It's a reverse headphone. Look, here's what I want to say though about Virginia. Would you take the 2019 championship that you win, knowing that you're gonna just keep getting heartbroken every year?
Forever?
There's really
like,
no
can I
end
ever
in
win
sight
another?
right now.
Can I ever win
There's no
another
end in
championship?
sight right now.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely do. Yeah, you take the champ. Yeah, you take, because what's the alternative? That you don't win a championship and you probably still get bounced.
Would you rather Elite 8 every year than get bounced in the round of 64 in heartbreaking fashion and lose to the 16 seed, but win the championship?
Oh man, because think about this: if you go to Elite 8 every year,
you're really good. You get a chance.
You're getting a decent amount of basketball games where you get to sit down, eat wings, you get hope.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know you're getting bounced probably in the first round every year, you're thinking, well, you got one game to enjoy, and then what? Personally, I still take the national championship because I've been a Maryland fan, and guess what? We still get bounced most years, first round
or round two.
Or round 2. So it's like it's not been that much better.
Yeah, it's interesting. The one thing I do want to say is that guy for Virginia that just threw up that pass when he was trapped in the corner. That was the definition of F it. Somebody's down there, they'll catch it. But I don't want to pile on the kid. Like you know he feels bad.
Yeah.
You know, like so many people are. So in a seldom serious moment in this, like I do feel bad for him.
Oh, absolutely.
But at the same time, like Furman winning, like that's awesome.
Oh, pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. Another upset was on the verge of happening yesterday, and I feel like I might have been the problem because it was going really well until I tuned in. And then I tuned in, and it lost a lot of momentum.
You change the vibes. You can't change the vibes like that.
I know. I should have just been monitoring from afar. It was North Kentucky.
The North.
16 seed looking to upset number 1 Houston. And Houston was choking, and they're blowing it pretty bad there for a while. First half, North Kentucky was doing really well. They had Houston's number, and then they go into the locker room, and they said, hey, listen, we got to make some adjustments. Whatever we being North Kentucky is doing is not good enough. We shouldn't be beating the number 1 seed as a 16. We actually should be dominating them. So what are we going to do? How many threes did we take this half? Oh, we only took 10 threes. We need to double that number. We need to double it. If you have the ball, shoot it. If you're not taking shots, I'm pulling you. That's not a bit. That's not a bit. I wish that was a bit. That's actually what he said. That was what the coach of North Kentucky literally said. And so they go, and hey, to the team's credit, they respond to coaching really well. Like that team, they said, hey, listen, our coach, he got us here. We believe in him. And so that's what they did. So North Kentucky, that proceeded to shoot 5 for 33 on 3-pointers on the game.
Josh. So
they didn't stop shooting though. They kept shooting.
Let's get this straight, okay? Northern Kentucky is hanging in there as a 16 seed against Houston.
Yeah.
They're down 30-27 at halftime, and Houston has one of their best players that's going to sit at halftime because he's injured, and his status is up in the air.
Yes.
Northern Kentucky then decides, you know what? We've been going toe for toe with Houston, so we got to switch the whole game plan up.
And switch it all up.
Because staying close, that isn't good enough. Yeah, they proceeded to shoot 15.2% from 3-point range, and then shot 27.5% from the rest of the field.
Dude, there were guys, and listen, there were shots that were made or like that were shot where I'm like, dude, what are we doing? But there's also, they had, to their credit, they had some wide open 3-pointers that they just could not hit to save their life. They were as cold as you can get. And listen, and I'm not sure, I've never been to a D1 practice. I'm not sure what a D1 practice necessarily looks like. I've never been specifically to Northern Kentucky's basketball practice. If I had to guess, probably not a whole lot of 3-pointers being made.
Josh.
And if you can't make them in practice, usually might be not the place to try them in a game.
Josh, Northern Kentucky entered the game yesterday versus Houston as a 19.5-point underdog. Their coach at halftime said, we're only down by 3. That's not good.
Not good enough.
How does that happen? How does
the best thing ever. It's the best thing ever. So Houston ends up winning. They can't feel good about that win at all. Like that's
a win though.
Like a win's a win, but there's when you're the 1 seed, that's demoralizing. You go into that and you go, man, we're like by the way, the final is in our city. It's like it's set up for us to have this beautiful story.
Yeah, Houston got a terrible draw though because they have to play Auburn in Alabama. In the round of 32. Horrendous draw for them. Houston, though, they like to make the game ugly. I'd certainly say they made that game ugly last night.
They did. Hey, and props to them. They got the win. Win's a win. I mean, the alternative was being on the wrong side of history. So
So good
yeah.
for them.
Okay. Shout out Houston and shout out North Kentucky. You guys really knew. Like for a second there, I was like, "This is a well-coached team. This team, like this coach is going to get offers from like."
Hey, had you in the first half.
And then I was like, "Oh man, that's crazy." Also, repping the jersey, Maryland won, and as no surprise to us, avid Maryland fans, we knew
Maryland money line cash.
That was easy.
Easy.
Now, was there points in the first half there where I was like, "Oh, well, we're gonna blow out. We're gonna lose by 30." Yeah, absolutely. Was there times in the second half where I'm like, "Oh, well, this is where it's all over. This is where they pull away." Somehow, get the win, and now it's on to upset season. Alabama, I think.
I don't apologize for wins. Do you?
No, I'm just saying, Alabama. Look out, buddy. Look out. We're coming. That's all we're going to say about that. Moving on to NFL news, Mike Gesicki signs a deal with the Patriots worth
$9 million up to
$9 million. So we don't really know what the number looks like. Could be $1 million. But then if he catches 30 touchdowns, he gets $9 million. I'm not sure how that deal is structured. Does this make the Patriots a contender within the division? Absolutely not. Like, does Juju Smith-Schuster make the Patriots a contender in the division? Absolutely not.
How much do you want to bet this is a get up segment this morning? Does the Mike Gesicki signing put the Patriots over the top? It's like
I probably is. But I don't listen. The Patriots got a lot of holes to fill, and I think they're taking the right steps to fill them. The problem is, it's just like, what are you going to do? Like the Dolphins are out here making major money moves. Okay. So you get Mike Gesicki, great. You know who's going to be on the other side of the field twice a year? Jalen Ramsey. Like it's just like there's different levels to this, guys.
I think Jalen Ramsey's on the tail end of his career. That being said, still a really, really good player.
Still got 2 years in him.
Right. So, you know what I've been thinking, or at least have thought of in my head?
What have you thought about?
Patriots, look, they got to contend in their division. Bill Belichick is not going to go through a rebuild. He's not going to say, hey, guys, being average is good enough, right? Like, we know that. Dolphins are making moves. The Jets are going to land Aaron Rodgers eventually.
Yes. Well, per Aaron Rodgers, they're going to land Aaron Rodgers. Per the Packers and the Jets, we're not sure.
Well, the Jets are like, yes, let's make the deal. The Packers are like, well, we don't want
How sweet would it be if the Packers just was like, nah, never mind, we're good.
But they can't do that, Josh. They can't do that because they're owed, $45 million for a guy that's not going to play on your team. They don't want him back.
Maybe they do that. Maybe that's like the biggest like screw you moment to Aaron and to the Jets ever.
Like, and you know what Aaron's going to be like? Aaron's going to spin zone the hell out of it and say, well, thanks, man. I get $45 to go, enjoy my retirement and have fun. So anyway, what I was saying is Dolphins are making moves. Jets are making moves. Bills are really good. Okay.
Right.
What if the Patriots try to make a play for Lamar Jackson? Okay. That instantly puts you a step above in that division. And honestly, you're probably on the fringe of competing for a division title at that point.
And Ramondre Stevenson is a really good runner. So you're probably going to have a better run game than you did as he progresses. Mac Jones, listen, Mac Jones, he had a great rookie year. Had flashes of greatness.
I would say good rookie year.
I would say for a rookie, he had a great rookie year.
It was good. Yeah, it was.
A great rookie year as a rookie. Like for a rookie standard of we've seen Trevor Lawrence rookie year. Look at what he did. He was awful. Like so, for a rookie,
it was really good.
Great rookie year.
Sophomore year, low key kind of got benched for Bailey Zappi.
That's people. People are gonna forget about that, and I almost forgot about that for a second.
It's like where were you when Bailey Zappi was the next Tom Brady?
Zip and Zappy was a moment there.
It's almost like Gucci Danucci.
We don't need to talk about
Anyway,
that.
other NFL news, right, Josh?
We don't need to talk about that. So other NFL news, Marcus Mariota signs a deal with the Eagles. So I guess, they're like, hey, similar style-ish to Jalen Hurts, kind of just back up. No, nothing exciting there. It is kind of weird that Marcus Mariota quit his starting job for a backup job, though.
Man, let's put it like this. This is what happened to Marcus Mariota, okay? You're sitting... We're going to go Coward here. This is a little Colin Coward segment.
Got it.
Okay.
And viewers, by the way, viewers love Colin Coward. There's a big audience that loves Colin Coward, so I think people are really going to like this one.
So Marcus Mariota, he's like your guy in corporate. He was your hot shot. He came up, and you're sitting there and you're going, this guy, man, this guy isn't that good. He really isn't that good.
Doesn't even know Excel that well.
Other guy that you know has been under your wings, and you're like, man, maybe we can move him up in this position. So then one day you go to Marcus Mariota and you go, hey, man, we got to have a talk. Your performance, you're just not getting it done. But hey, there's this guy, we're going to give him a shot. Would love you to stick around, just help him out. Understand if you got to move on in the future, but we're not giving you a demotion. We're not giving you we're not decreasing your pay. We're not doing anything. Marcus Mariota goes, you know what? I quit. I'm done with this. And so the former hotshot is now just on the market.
Patrick.
And somehow another team was like, you know what? We're going to pay that former young hotshot that clearly is not good at his job. We're going to pay him $5 million.
No, that's a reasonable backup deal. The thing I love about that analogy that you just gave, Patrick, is, you spelled out exactly what was happening. It's just like if you just didn't say it was corporate, it would just been the same.
Yep.
There's no difference. It's like that's exactly what happened.
Well,
not like in corporate terms and NFL terms, it's the same.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing, and look, all I want to say is Marcus Mariota literally quit the Falcons because he got benched. Okay, that is like the number one thing you learn in Little League not to do. It's have good sportsmanship.
Yes.
Marcus Mariota quit, and then now he's going to be a Philadelphia Eagle. So now people are asking, do the Eagles like quitters?
Yes, I feels like that. I guess to be determined on that, but recent decisions would tell us yes, right?
I tell you, they're a big believer in quitters.
Well,
they would tell you that almost 1% of the roster is made up of quitters.
Almost 1%, about 2%.
Yeah.
So, well, interesting enough. Speaking of quitters, is Michael Jordan a quitter? Michael Jordan is looking to sell the Hornets, and they are currently 22-49. It seems like there's an element of basketball that Michael Jordan might not be the GOAT at. And everyone talks about how Michael Jordan is this all-world competitor, but we all know, hey, listen, Michael Jordan is infamous for one thing, winning. Michael Jordan wins. And so, yeah, you probably love to compete when you win. But what happens when he doesn't win? Is he still a competitor? Doesn't seem like it, because it seems like to me, he said, because he doesn't need the money to sell it. He's not hurting. Sure, he's got that massive mansion in Chicago that's been for sale for the last 15 years. But he doesn't need the money. He doesn't need
the right price.
Yeah, just looking for the right price. He doesn't need the money. It seems to me like he doesn't. He's trying to avoid the criticism that he's a bad owner.
I'd argue, does Michael Jordan not love basketball anymore?
Lost his love for the game.
Has he lost his love for the game? Michael Jordan is really into fishing, golfing, and gambling. Which, guess what? That sounds like every retired dude wants to do. And I think Michael Jordan's getting to the age where he's going, why don't I just like fully retire? Like I don't need to own a team. I don't need to deal with this anymore.
Yes.
I don't need to worry about this. I don't, LaMelo Ball. I don't need to have LeVar Ball in my ear 24/7. I'm just going to sail out in the sunset because at the end of the day, I'm still the greatest player of all time.
Michael Jordan has gone soft. Okay. Every guy in the world at all times would love to be fishing, golfing, or gambling. Okay. That's just the reality. It's great. And you can do that. There's times. But at the end of the day, right, there's things you got to get done. If you have a competitive edge, you got to compete. And it seems like he's lost that.
But Josh, what if I don't think he's lost it. I think he's going into a retirement phase where he's just competing to be the best fisherman, the best golfer, the best gambler.
Yeah, but he never won. But he never won as an owner, and so it's always going to be the big asterisks on his basketball resume. Because no, there is now. Because think about this. Okay, if Michael Jordan is the guy who we presume not as a basketball player, right? We's great. That's not going to affect his legacy there. But if we're talking about Michael Jordan as the guy who is the best at everything he does, right? It's like, oh, Michael Jordan's doing it. He's got to be the best. If Michael Jordan's playing you in a golf round, he's gonna build a course that's catered to his exact skill set, which he did, by the way. Did you see that?
No, but carry on.
Michael Jordan made a golf course that literally he just took what his swing was, and he said, and like he had like a group of people like see what his tendencies were, and they just built a golf course to play to his strengths.
Why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah,
like, that's cool.
That's pretty sweet. But he did do that. So he wants to be a winner. He wants to be the best at whatever he does. Golf, fishing, whatever it is. Michael Jordan's got to be the best.
Well, Josh, but if you're going to put this in the GOAT conversation and say that this is an asterisk against Jordan because Jordan's not a good owner, how can he possibly be the GOAT of the sport? Well, is LeBron James the worst GM of all time then? Is that not an asterisk?
Yeah, it is an asterisk. And I would argue that 100%.
Just going to say, look, I want to just give some love to Michael Jordan. The guy's always got paparazzi. He just wants to live a normal life. Let the guy live a normal life.
Maybe I'd be more sympathetic if he had stopped into the surf shop I was working when he was in Ocean City.
Josh, he was not going to come to K-Coast.
Maybe I invited him personally via his Instagram account.
Yeah, because I'm sure he saw that.
Well, actually, he doesn't have an Instagram, so I had to do it through the Jordan brand. But but I was hoping they were going to pass on the message. So
I just imagine the intern at Nike. That's dude, what the hell? He's like, are you kidding me? Like, what is this?
Yeah. So Jordan, hey, if you ever want to get back to me, would love to make amends on this. Moving on, back to football. Last night was a really tough night, and I'm just gonna air it out there. Okay, I'm just gonna get all the feelings off the chest. The Houston Roughnecks, previously undefeated for the eternity of the XFL, for the history of the XFL, got defeated by the Seattle Sea Dragons.
North.
Now, here's what I'll say about the victory. Was it an abysmal offensive showing? Absolutely. Could we do anything right on offense? No. We pretty much were awful. I mean, the fact that the Seattle Sea Dragons were turning the ball over at a historic rate, and we couldn't capitalize. And listen, sure, Brandon Silvers needs to play better. The wide receivers need to catch. The defense, I mean, listen, you got to tighten up. When you 3 minutes left to play, it's a one possession game. If you stop them, we get the ball back, we get a chance to score. That's when you got to tighten things up. We don't do any of that. And it was just, I mean, there's no moral victories in the loss like that. Everything, I mean, I don't know what happened where we literally last week I said I don't see a team ever being able to beat us. We played that well. And now we played so bad, I'm questioning everything. And so I'm not happy. There's literally there was not one positive takeaway I could
a lot of positives
have
on my end
from that game. Seattle. Listen, Seattle give them credit. They have a massively explosive offense. Now, there is a lot of beef between DiNucci and Josh Gordon. DiNucci was not happy with Josh Gordon at all during that game.
Josh, don't
He was yelling at him.
talk about other teams.
And,
don't put other teams.
And by the way, don't
put other teams' issues
no.
in your mouth.
I got to make it clear. And sure, I think the Seattle Sea Dragons offense has the highest potential. Their turnover ratio is so bad that I don't think they'll ever reach over that hump. But we got, and we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna tighten it up. DC's not gonna know what hit them.
Are you done?
I'm done.
You're done? Okay, let's put it like this. You got Gucci by DiNucci. Okay. It was a bad showing. You sat here on Monday. You tried to tell me that the South was by far the better division. I said, absolutely not. I said, the North is where it's at. Look, the DC Defenders, they're undefeated. The only undefeated team left in this XFL.
They haven't even played this week. You can't even
Josh,
say.
But I said, excuse me, is it my turn to talk?
Yeah, it's fine.
Thank you. DC Defenders still the only undefeated team left in the XFL. They play off against presumably now the second best team in the XFL now after last night's loss
Battlehawks
in Seattle, the Battlehawks this weekend in where would be the most ruckus environment in the XFL, and we'll see if they can get the job done. Not to mention this Seattle Sea Dragons team is making a leap. They're coming on strong. They may now be the third best team in this XFL because they just beat head to head the Houston Roughnecks. So now the Roughnecks
in Seattle, home field advantage.
Excuse me, Josh. I thought it was my turn to talk. Now we're looking at the Houston Roughnecks in the South Division possibly being the best team, listed fourth. Josh, I think you guys have gotten away with just playing an easy schedule. You played all the Texans' opponents. You played the Renegades. You've played the Brahmas. You've then played the worst team in spring football history in the Orlando Guardians, and you thought you guys were good. You got by yourself. Okay. Brandon Silvers throws an interception, loses a fumble. You guys simply have to play better because the last time I checked, not a football expert, but 4.8 yards per completion is terrible.
Okay. Listen, all that's fair. First of all, Seattle Sea Dragons, the team that wins the game does not mean equal better team. Seattle Sea Dragons are not better than the Roughnecks, and I wouldn't.
Then why didn't you beat them?
Okay, that's yeah.
If you're better today, then why didn't you beat them yesterday? Explain that to me.
It's any given Sunday, or in this
case,
it
was a Thursday.
It was a Thursday night. In this case, Thursday night. And so that's just how it goes. But listen, I'm excited to see what you say when the Battlehawks come and smack the Defenders in the mouth.
And if that happens, Josh, you know what I'll say? I'll say, you know what? Battlehawks, second best team in the XFL. It's a toss
behind the Roughnecks.
Clearly,
Roughnecks are number one.
Strength of schedule, Josh. This is the College Football Playoff Committee. They don't respect you. You haven't played a tough schedule. You haven't played anyone.
Okay, maybe. Hey, listen, I agree. Our schedule's been light, but I think we're fine. We are fine. We're gonna bounce back. My trust is in Brandon Silvers. My trust is in Wade Phillips. And he's gonna have the boys dialed in. So
we know
we're coming off.
Wade Phillips is, especially when it comes to later in the season. Getting the job done in the playoffs as a head coach. He has such a great resume.
Exactly.
So I'm sure there's so much hope for you guys.
So a lot of hope. No, see, I would spin zone that say he's got experience in the moment.
Bad experience.
Experience in the moment. Bad experience. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. Gonna be a wild weekend of XFL action. Moving on to baseball. I love how in the hierarchy of this show, it's like baseball falls behind XFL, which is just for me, it's awesome. I love that because I'm invested in the XFL now. So Edwin Diaz was hurt celebrating a win, which, I mean, first of all, it feels super bad for Edwin Diaz. Obviously, that's a paycheck. I'm sure that's affected. That's career that's affected.
Right.
A lot of things not great about the situation. Arguably, though, celebrations should be banned. Probably, right?
Funny you say that, Josh. The New York Mets last year in spring training, what did they do? They practiced winning the World Series. Josh, they got bounced in the first round of the playoffs.
So they practiced winning the World Series. So he had practiced celebrating.
Yes.
And so he should have been practicing more.
I guess he wasn't prepared enough for the celebration.
But also, I mean, but here's the thing though. What country does he play for again?
Plays for Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico as a team?
Yes.
Puerto Rico's the United States.
It's a territory, Josh.
It's the U.S.
Yeah.
Okay, that's U.S. The World Baseball Classic is just, you need to figure things out, guys. What are we doing here? This is just like hodgepodge of whatever. Like we got people born in the U.S. playing for Mexico. We got Puerto Rico, which is a territory of the U.S. playing as a set. Makes no sense. I digress. But arguably, Puerto Rico should have been practicing. Do we have reports if they practice celebrations for
so.
the World Baseball Classic? So. And that's what you have. When you don't practice celebrations, you risk the chance of being injured.
And this goes down with the history of like weird injuries in baseball. Let's not forget, okay? Marty Cordova. He got injured because he fell asleep in a tanning bed. Hate when that happens.
Yep.
Ricky Henderson, he got frostbite in August. That really sucks.
Shout out AB.
Matt Cain, pitcher, he hurt himself while making a sandwich. So, stuff happens.
Stuff happens.
David Price got hurt playing video games.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Listen, stuff happens. We get it. Injuries happen in sports. Hopefully, speedy recovery for Edwin Diaz. Hopefully he yeah, man, that's really rough. We're not gonna hear the trumpets for a whole year, huh?
No trumpets.
Pretty sweet. Quentin Tarantino is making his last film. It's called The Movie Critic, and it's sad. It like makes me feel like I'm getting old. Like it's just we're reaching a new generation of just everything and things that like when something ends that's been going on my whole life, it's always sentimental because there's not like I never had a world where it happened. When Tom Brady retired, I go, man, like I've never watched football and experienced football without Tom Brady. And I still haven't. And so this year is gonna be something. It's gonna be like new.
Well, XFL.
It just makes me XFL. It just makes me it just makes me go like, man, like I'm growing up. I'm getting older. Like one day I'm gonna be like 45 and I'm just gonna be an old man and it's just how it's gonna be. And then when Quentin Tarantino, like there's always been his next film was coming.
Mm-hmm.
And now that's over as well. And so
well, wait until you get like a 5-part series from Quentin.
Yeah, he is dropping a miniseries. If I had to guess, it's going to be like 5 episodes, probably like 2 hours an episode. So if you really put that together, it's like you could say it's a 10-hour movie, or you could say it's just like you wrote
it's
a franchise.
Also like one of those. It's one of those things where like you hear like Quentin Tarantino, like, oh, this is his last film. Like, oh, is he retiring? Right. And it's the same thing like when you hear like rappers and music artists retire. It's like, well, do you really ever retire? Because like you can just come out of retirement at any point. Like this isn't football where you just aren't good enough to be like.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, you're just yeah. I always wonder about that. It's not like you're forced to retire because like, oh, he just doesn't have that edge anymore. That he doesn't have that like that killer, the instinct. No, I agree. I think it's funny. Also, it's like, does he ever retire? Because you could always just rewatch his movies.
Valid point.
It's just like, oh, I can turn it on. It's like, I'm not going to, it's like, oh, I'll never get to see Quentin Tarantino again. Like, no, dude, it's like, you could DVR it right now.
DVR it, yeah.
Cool. NASCAR, Patrick. I feel like we have to talk about NASCAR just because it's like 2 minutes, 55 seconds left is always when we squeeze in NASCAR. They're at Atlanta this week.
Mm-hmm.
You have Joey Logano as the favorite. You also have Ricky Stenhouse as a guy who could do well.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna stick with Logano winning this week.
Logano winning. Okay.
Mhm.
And I personally, let me look. I need to look at the field real quick. Just kind of process it for a sec.
When I was looking at the field, I had 3 guys. So Joey Logano,
Yeah.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and Austin Cindric. And the reasoning behind that, Logano, one of the better super speedway racers. Austin Cindric has 1 wins come at Daytona. He's due for another win. And then Ricky Stenhouse wins the Daytona 500. And the last time that he won, the only other time that he's ever won a Cup Series race, he won 2 of them that season. So I'm trying to let history repeat itself.
I mean, this is the least bold pick I will ever make on this show.
Kyle Larson.
Because here's why. He's due. I'm going to pick Kyle Larson. I promise you this. I will pick Kyle Larson every week until he wins because he's due. He's so due. And he would have won last week if he didn't kind of get screwed.
Could you legitimately win money if you just bet Kyle Larson every week?
If you bet him. So look, okay, so Kyle Larson.
He's going to be at what? Like plus 800 every week?
So Kyle Larson top 5 is plus 100. He's plus 900 winner this week. So he's going to be around plus 800, plus 900. Will he win one every 9 races?
Possible.
I could see that.
He did when he won the championship.
I'd say yeah. That's a great point. Kyle Busch, he's up there. I mean, Kyle Busch has just had too good of a season. William Byron, I mean, we'll see how crazy it would be if William Byron could keep this streak going. Not going to happen, but
it's a little fluky.
Would be pretty sweet. Hey, but fluke is the most common fish in the sea. So when you go fishing for a fluke, you might just catch one.
I was waiting for a better ending than that, but good job, Josh.
Thank you. I try to quote Kevin from The Office, but I'm not Kevin. So anyway, that's the show. If you're still listening, make sure you DM us at Picks and Pancakes to get a free mug. And go to our website, picksandpancakes.com. And make sure you guys go and participate in Mini Hoop Madness on our TikTok page with the filter. And it's a fun time. Right now, me and Patrick are the only participants. So if you compete, you actually have a 100% chance of winning $10 gift card unless I decide to take it because technically I'm the leader right now. Anyway, you guys have a wonderful day. A peace.